Hey guys, Adam here, Blackfyre Productions, and welcome back to another episode of Fields of Jwar, where I cover off GCT Studios Bushido, the game. Usually I get this out on Thursday, and I know this is coming out on Friday, but I've been kind of busy over the last week and a bit because I took my kids and my wife on a vacation out to Alberta, Canada, where we went and saw mountains and the Badlands, which is like one of the best known places in the world for finding dinosaur fossils, which my kids absolutely love, as well as to Lethbridge, Alberta, where they have a Japanese garden with the tea house in the center of it, which was built in Kyoto, Japan, and stuff like that. So it was sort of like something I wanted to do while there, because there's nothing like that in my neck of the woods here in Ontario, Canada. So yeah, a little bit behind, but when I got back from this vacation, I had a package in the mail from GCT Studios with some items I picked up. So I picked up the terrain bits for the Shiho, as well as some scenario accessory packs, and the large base one as well. So today what we're going to do, because I haven't been able to get a game in and a battle report, I'm going to take a look at those. Show you guys, especially if you're new to Bushido like myself, what is all entailed inside these packages and the rule books and such, as well as maybe show you some a little bit of hobbying that I've done on some terrain for my board, so that way I can sort of diversify it as well, and so I'll give you an idea as to what I'm working for. But without further ado, let's take a look at the packages that I got. So before I jump into everything that's here, I gotta give a big shout out to the channel sponsors and my partners over at Torchlight Games and Hobbies. Those guys have been treating the channel very well. You can check them out in the description of the video down below. So if you go into the comment or into the description, like I said, just hit their link. You'll also see a code there, FIRE5, that you can use to save yourself 5% off of your hobby supply needs. So a few of the things we're going to be looking at today, I do have some trains sort of like set aside in the background that you can't see, but these are what we're going to take a look through. We're going to take a flip through the core rulebook, as well as the tokens, which are very nice. I never bought them right off the hop, and I probably should have got both of these right off the hop, but I didn't. And then obviously I got the terrain pack and the accessory packs and some tokens here, which we'll go over as well. So let's go over the scenario accessory pack first, as well as the other bits that I have. So I got one of the large accessory pieces here. I should have bought two of these, and for whatever reason, I only bought one. And I don't understand why I didn't buy two. I completely meant to buy two, but I only got one, so I had to improvise. So this is one of the large objectives. So I got that, and then to make another one, I took a food dog that my friend Ian has printed off for me, and the original one is like so, right? That's the original scale that they come in. I've already primed this one. I'm going to start actually getting it painted up here for terrain very shortly, but he upsized the scale by 200% to go to that big. So I'm going to use that as an objective, and so what I did is I cut off the bottom portion here, and then glued the top stones on as the base. So you can see how it has like the two layers. So I cut that bottom layer off, and then glued it onto the base like so. And in the time that I was doing that, it actually broke when I was using the saw, because there was some faults with the print on this one, Ian was saying, and so I'm just gonna have to glue, or not glue, green stuff the gaps and fill those in. You can see on the head where it didn't quite turn out 100%, but that's okay. But yeah, so that's what I'm going to be using for my large objectives. So in the scenario pack, let's open that up and see what's inside. There's a whole bunch of more resin and everything else, which I like. So you have your 3 zone of controls, or rings, for your objectives that you can lay out, so like you can contest those areas, right? I can't remember the scenarios off the top of my head that have them in there, but you got 3 of those, and they're nice and flat. What I was looking at using instead of buying these were brass rings that were at the same scale. My wife actually picked me up a couple when she was out at a dollar store around here, but I like those a lot more because they're flatter, so you can actually put models on where it's a little bit harder to do with the brass rings. So the resin pieces, these are your other like idols and stuff like that, which are super cool. I really like them, and they just plug right into the base. And so I'll show you that as well as soon as I can find the opening to this one. Man, there we go. All right, so you got your base here, you can see, right? You got your base there like so, right? And then all you do is you can pop those guys in, and then away you go. But you have your different idols and everything else here for your various scenarios. If I can get this one out, that would be great. Ugh, a little bit hard, but that's okay. So yeah, so just resin pieces like that, you can see. Really, really cool. So yeah, I'm going to be using those for my objectives, and that's directly from GCT Studios in their Scenario Accessory Pack 1. When I bought these, there was another scenario pack, if I can remember correctly, that was not available at the time, or else I would have got those. So you get, looks like 3 of these right there, and then you get 6 of the other ones here, like that. So yeah, so that's what comes in the scenario pack. I don't think there's scenario accessory pack. There's nothing else. So I'll eventually build those up, put some like static grass and everything. So this one will be easier to show you what I'm talking about. But when you insert them there, you have that flat area. So I'll put some sand on there, some static grass, and maybe some like flowers or plants to sort of spruce it up. Sort of similar to what I did on my bases over here with my models that I have painted up, right? So I'll add some plant life and everything else just to give it more of a natural look to the landscape, and to hopefully blend it in to the into the board and everything else. So that's what I'll be doing with those. So that is that. Check that out, and I'll pull out the next thing next. And here we are with the Shiho Terrain set that came out with the Shiho release. I picked this up separately, and I probably should have picked it up with my Shiho order as well, but I didn't, and so I had to go back and do it again. But there's nothing wrong with that. So first off, you have your trap here. It's like a bamboo trap. Unfortunately, a little piece did break off as it was transported over here, because it's thin resin, but I'm easily going to be able to glue it back on. So that goes on the base, something like so. You have like the little holes that you can just plug and play in there, so you get your MDF base, and so you can put that on there, and then spruce up the base as well, make it all nice with like flocking and static grass and everything. You have your tree. I think if I can remember correctly from the cards, you can jump out of the tree with one of your guys that have flank, and then you have your decoy, which can use to contest a zone, but I think it's destroyable. It's been a while since I looked at the cards for these guys and the terrain specifically. And then you also have your hole, your tunnel. I think you can jump into it and gain flank, or use this to jump back out later on if you have flank. So you put that on base. It's pretty thin too, and you can see here, I don't know if you can get it in the best, but you can see here that, let's try to get that in for you, in focus that is. There we go. It's a little bit warped, but once you get it glued down, it should be fine. And then you just attach the bamboo shoots on there, and away you go, and you'll be set. So that's the terrain kit that you need, or that I picked up to go with the cards that come with the Shiho, and the options to give them more things to play with, and more sort of like those tricks and traps that they seem to like. But yeah, so that was another item that I picked up from GCT Studios. So I'll move that to the back, and I'll look at the core rulebook and the tokens next. And here we are with the tokens, which I absolutely love. Reason being is because I've seen so many other times where you get a token set with a game and they're thin cardboard, and they just don't turn out very well. I'd rather have like the thicker ones, like this style or thickness of pressed cardboard or whatever. And so you got you got your exhausted and tired tokens for your activations, right? You got your key tokens up here, your different status conditions, so bleed, on fire, can't remember off the top of my head, poison, and you'll also see that it gives you a number here with like the number of tokens. So you have like 1, and then you'll see like on the reverse side, both sides of these tokens will have like additional numbers. So you can see like there's a 3 there, or with the poison, you can see you got 1, 2, and then a 3 on that side. So, so that's the way if you have more than one poison token or flame token or bleed token, then you can just flip to the appropriate number that you need, or find the one that has the appropriate number that you need. You have, what else do you have? You have your ammo tokens or reload tokens, your run and prone, and then berserk down here and stun, right? And then you have over here, you have some controlled as well down at the bottom. More ammo and reload ones. You got frightened on the back as well as mobilized. I'm not sure what this one is. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure. Somebody please tell me, because yeah, again, not sure. What I like about these, when I was playing a friend, Dave, he was getting a trial game in with me. I think it was my 3rd game. I've got 3 games under my belt, like just trying to learn the rules and sort of hammer those out with various people. And Dave brought his tokens over, and what I love is just how they insert up against the base with like the round shaped, so you can slide them up against the base and everything else with that. So yeah, so the tokens are really well done, very well designed in that sense, where you can fit them onto the base and they fit nice and snug and everything else, and they're durable with the type of material that they are. So yeah, that's those are the tokens. I don't think you need the tokens to play, but I think it will definitely make it easier to track everything, so it'll just be a benefit to do that, or to get these, I should say, and I highly suggest them, because I was using like beads and dice and things like that to track in my first couple of games, the different status conditions and stuff like that on the guys, as well as like key and everything else. So yeah, so these will make it so much easier to actually get a game, and everybody can see what they are just by looking at the tokens, right? So, oh, they even got it disguised here. That's a funny one as well. So yeah, that's the token set, and the last thing here is the actual core rulebook. So Bushido Risen Sun rulebook. So it's, I think, A4 size paper, and it's very well put together. I'm not gonna go through everything, but 95 pages, 94 pages, something like that. Yeah, so 95 with the last page there with the artwork. So, but you go through the first little bit, covers like, you know, terms and game overview and everything else, right? So you get game overview, getting ready, terms and concepts, then you have the cards, which will explain all about the cards, and then going into the rules, and then you have your traits. These traits are everything. So you got 13 pages of traits, from like your weapons all the way to the actual traits that you have on your cards and that too. So and they're broken down individually here. So you have your traits here, and then eventually it will go into weapons, I think, in here too. So like the biggest thing with this is I found that when I was trying to figure out what's what, in the sense of like what was a weapon trait and everything else when I first was going through this. So, but yeah, it's 13 pages of stuff to look at. So you do have a ton of it. So like, you know, you got your rapid fire. Where was I looking here? Maybe it was the key feats that I was missing, or mixing up. But yeah, tons of different stuff. So, but yeah, a ton of information here. Very well laid out overall. The artwork is fantastic. Like, I absolutely love this photo. Absolutely love this photo. Just with the monk and everything else. I'm not sure her name, but I'm guaranteed there's a model there. But I think if I was to get another affiliation, it's definitely going to be the monks. Is it Temple of Rokogon? Off the top of my head, I cannot remember, but they do have it at the back of the book. So the last few pages is all about the lore. So yeah, so Rokon, that's it. Temple of Rokon. Yeah, I'll definitely be getting those because of the monks and everything. But it goes over a general overview of the prefecture, Savage Wave. I think you have the temple, obviously, the Edo, Minimoto, everything, Ronin, as well as Imperial Court. So there's a ton of information in this book. Really well worth the money to actually have a physical copy, because I was using the PDF version on my tablet, and I just found it extremely hard to go through on my tablet because it's a little bit slower. And so it took a while to load up, where I can just flip through this quite quickly, or even bookmark the pages that I'm going to be using. So yeah. So those are the things that I've picked up, I should say, to enhance the gameplay and getting it to go a little bit smoother for me. Hobby-wise, what I've been doing is priming some stuff. You can see like this little guy here, like I showed earlier, he's primed like a dark green gray. I think it's like German gray by Vallejo, and then I did like a light over dusting of like a lighter gray, and I'll start dry brushing him and getting those colors to pop a little bit. So what I've been doing is getting trained just primed / sprayed, and so this is going to be one of my rural houses, so basically like a rural village. I think I showed it before, can't remember off the top of my head, but either way, what I did is I primed it like a brown, a yellow, and then an off-white. You can see the yellow up here and the browns down there. So it's not done because I want to darken up and add a dry brushing to the yellow for the straw. Maybe give it a wash so it's sort of like the straw has been aged and everything else too. And then the wood as well. I'll be doing some washes on them to make it sort of pull it away from just flat brown, and add in a little bit more depth, and give it like a green and brown wash, and then maybe a light gray dry brush first, and then the green then the green and brown wash is what I'm thinking. So, but yeah, so that's going to be like a terrain piece that I'll be using. It's a big one. What's cool though is you can play on the inside as well, so you can see like the inside of it you can use. So if I find some little like housing items and terrain that can go inside, I think that will be great. But what I'm going to do, that's going to be used for the rural community. So for another game I had some that I play, I had some terrain made a couple of years ago for an event to stylize a certain area or a location in the game, which is the Shire for Middle Earth SPG. And so I had a guy commission some hobbit holes as well as some farmlands and stuff like that. So I'll be using these farmlands to sort of make like and the house to make like my rural board, then put up some trees and stuff like that as well. So that will be sort of like the rural board that I'll be doing. I know it's not like a rice paddy per se with the water and everything else that's required for it, but it will still work and it will still look pretty good, I think. So that is that for today's Fields of Jwar episode. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. Sorry it's not a battle report yet. I am dying to get one out there. I've been inquiring with some of my friends if anybody would be interested in getting one, so hopefully next week I can get a battle report out for you guys. That's the hope. I am crossing my fingers, and it will probably just be like a 50 rice match. I don't want to jump in with a full game, but just start small and build up from there. That way there's probably going to be some rule mistakes that we make, but it just helps me sort of learn at a smaller level, and same with my opponent. So that is the general idea. So yeah, so if you haven't yet, check out the links in the description of the video down below. One to Torchlight Games and Hobbies, and while you're there, you can use the code FIRE5 to save 5% off your hobby supply needs, as well as our Patreon account, where we post stuff up there early for our viewers and such. And you can help support the channel directly through our Patreon account. So please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Until next time, ignite your hobby.